Thank you. Good to see you. All right, sit down. Well, it's great to be here at Tampa Bay History Center. Thank you for hosting us, and we're glad to be able to make another good announcement. I see these things come down. It's best 5 places for jobs, and it's like 4 of the 5 are Florida. And it's always, sometimes Tampa's one, Miami's one, but they're always up there, then Orlando, Jacksonville. And we always have like 4 of the top 5 in the entire country. And this has been happening now for a couple years. So we appreciate everything that's gone on in the Tampa Bay area for sure. I think that there's a lot of good stuff coming out here. We're going to continue to do it. And we've done a lot of different things to be able to be helpful in a bunch of regards, including an infrastructure where we did Moving Florida Forward, which is going to accelerate some of these road projects that we need done by between 10 and 20 years ahead of schedule, which is going to save a lot of people time. And we have, we have a big budget surplus. We've paid down 25% of our state's debt since I've been governor. We've cut taxes. We're doing the investments that we need to do. I'm going through the budget now, and I think what you'll end up with is a very fiscally conservative budget, but one that also has record investments in environment, in education, in transportation infrastructure. So we're doing it right, but we have opportunities to provide relief, and so we want to do it. So earlier today, I announced that for Memorial Day weekend, all 4 days of the long Memorial Day weekend, entrance to state parks for Florida residents will be free of charge. So we want you to be able to have fun and do what you can. And we've got the best state park system in the United States. We're proud of that. I mean, part of it is because we've got a lot of great natural resources, and so it's great to have parks in areas that are beautiful. So we want people to be able to enjoy that. We want people to be able to get outside and recreate. That's really what it's all about. I mean, I've got young kids at home, and my wife and I, we want them outside doing things, not just trying to, find the Apple TV remote and try to go around. Like, we hide it and they find it, but it's just the way it is. So we're proud to be able to do Memorial Day, and that's kind of the kickoff to summer. I know technically it's not summer till we get into June, but that's kind of the kickoff of the summer season. We're also proud to be able to announce here in Tampa that starting on July 1st, we are reinstituting the very successful, which we've done in the past, Freedom Sales Tax Holiday Initiative. And so this year, from July 1st to July 31st, you will have tax-free fishing supplies, camping supplies, boating and water activities, pool supplies, sunscreen, sunblock, bug spray, general outdoor supplies, gas and charcoal grills under $250, and bicycles under $500 will be done. And our view is this is part of enjoying the summer in Florida. So that's going to be a really important month. We want to put it on people's radars now so that they can start planning for those purchases if they want to do that. And in addition, many events and activities which Floridians like to participate in will also be tax-free. So this includes movies, live music, sporting events, festivals, fairs, entry to state parks and museums, like the one we're in here today, including annual passes will be tax-free. And we did the annual passes for the state parks last fall. I think it was October till January. We did 50% off annual passes, and it went through the roof, the number of people who purchased it. It was really, really great response, so we're happy to that. Also tax-free entry to theater, ballet, music events, again, including seasonal and annual passes. So this is going to make a big difference for families, and we're happy to be able to step up and do it. Florida is a great summer state, great beach weather, all this stuff. We set a record last year for summer tourism. We had 35 million people come just in the summer in the state of Florida. I mean, that's pretty incredible. And yes, we do have snowbirds that go elsewhere over the summer. In Florida, they don't have to worry about someone squatting in their house when they get back. You get rid of them. So I'm excited about the summer season, and we want people to be able to enjoy it. So hopefully you'll be able to enjoy on Memorial Day free access to the parks. I know people are going to be able to take advantage of the Freedom sales tax holiday, July 1st till July 31st. We're also going to be announcing at our next stop, which we're going to be up in Northwest Florida, we're going to be announcing our red snapper season for the Gulf red snapper, and that's going to be something that's very important to a lot of anglers in the state of Florida. You know, they let the state manage Gulf red snapper. The feds manage Atlantic snapper. So last year, 2023, we had the largest Gulf red snapper season since state undertook management. I don't know how many, I forget how many days, but it was like 80-some days. You know how many days that the federal government gave for Atlantic red snapper? 2. 2 days. And it's because they have bad data. So I knew this because I would talk to the fishermen, and they said, there's a lot of fish in the sea. We see them. The feds say they're not here. They're here. We see them. They're everywhere. And so I told my guys, I was like, we cannot be doing this nonsense. So I was like, figure out what actually is there, and I want to open this up because there are a lot of red snapper available. So on the Gulf portion, which we manage, we've worked very hard to basically show that the populations are healthy, and we want people to be able to go out and enjoy themselves. So last year was a record. We've got another big announcement on Gulf red snapper coming up later today, and I'm excited to be able to make that announcement. I know that'll be very meaningful for a lot of folks throughout the west coast of Florida. And we would love to take over the management of the Atlantic red snapper and not have the federal government do this paltry 2-day like they've done. I mean, that's just not acceptable. So stay tuned on that. We're going to work really, really hard. But all in all, great to be a Floridian this summer. Enjoy the state parks. Enjoy the sales tax holiday for July with all the great stuff. And that's in addition to a lot of the other tax relief that we've been able to deliver, which we're also proud of. I mean, we were able to launch starting April 1st, 50% reduction in tolls for the commuters throughout the state of Florida. You know, you've got tolls here in this area, Selma, some of these others. People have to go if they commute. That racks up. All you have to do is just, your bill will be taken care of. You get 50% reduction in your tolls at the end of every month if you're a commuter. I mean, if you only go once or twice, then that's not, but if you're commuting, and we see that, then you get that, and that's been very beneficial. It saved people, in 2023 when we did it, you know, it saved people, commuters, it saved them, a lot of people, hundreds of dollars throughout the year on tolls. So I think that's really great savings, and we're happy to be able to deliver that. So we're going to keep doing it. I'm proud to be able to be here today. We're going to hear from some folks. We're going to hear from our Secretary of DEP, Sean Hamilton. We're going to hear from Tampa's own Dana Young, who's the President and CEO of Visit Florida. And we're going to hear from CJ Roberts, who's the President and CEO of the Tampa Bay History Center. So we'll start off with Sean Hamilton.
Thank you, Governor. So I got to spend the week with the governor last week rolling out some of the largest environmental budgets in the state's history. Now I have the fortune to be with him this week as he builds opportunities for connections to those same resources. And so when I tell you I'm really, really happy on the inside about the leadership our governor is showing, trust me, words cannot bring it. So I think the governor definitely should be acknowledged and applauded for his commitment to our state. So the governor mentioned the sales tax holiday. What a great opportunity. So we got free park admission coming. The governor mentioned the Get Outdoors initiative. Record sales from park passes. I mean, those things flew off the shelf. The same thing on fishing license. Now we're talking about tax-free opportunities, whatever. So unless he comes pick you up, I don't know what else you need to get out, enjoy. I don't know. We can talk to him about that. Maybe the governor wants to start an Uber service, but come on. I think the invitation is there, right? And there's not a better place to go than our state parks. They are just amazing opportunities to connect folks to the real Florida, right? To remind us all what we hold dear and why those resources should be treasured for generations to come. And I have the fortune of having the management of all 175 of the greatest state parks in the state. And of course, we've got the 4 gold medals to prove it, but think about that. Those parks have something for everybody. We've got 2,200 miles of trails. We've got camping, boating, and as the Lieutenant Governor affectionately, we have glamping if you want something a little bit more along your lines. But we have it all, and there's something for everybody. And I just challenge you guys to build an opportunity with your families, whatever yourselves, to build those connections because they are important. And I think that's what connects me personally to the mission, but along with the other Floridans. And so it's a great time to get out there. I do want to make one plug, and I didn't talk about this a little while ago. The governor mentioned those 35 billion folks coming in. Well, about 22, 23 of you get to get a heads up on those reservations ahead of all of those other 35. And so thanks to the governor's leadership and the legislative support of giving Floridians a 1-month heads up on getting access to some of those camping sites, that's a big deal. And so just in closing, again, I want to thank the governor for his continued leadership in connecting our generations to the resources, but more importantly, what he's doing to protect them. So thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, Governor. I'm Dana Young. I'm the President and CEO of Visit Florida. And I just have to add one point of personal privilege, if I could, talking about the state park system. Back in the 60s, my grandfather was Senate President, and he started the Florida State Park System. And I could not be more proud of that. So going on to tourism in Florida, last year, 135 million people visited Florida. And that doesn't count all of us Floridians who travel around the state. So the numbers are huge. Summer is a very prime travel season for international visitors, primarily from Latin America and and Europe. And they come here with their families. They stay longer. They spend about twice as much per person. So we love having them here. And of course, us Floridians love our summer beach vacations too. I know I do. I'm actually headed out in about a week if the governor will approve my time off. But so we are fortunate enough to live in a state where people save all year long to come here on vacation. And that visitor spending, coupled with the leadership of our governor, gives us this tremendous advantage of, as Floridians, having no state income tax and having the ability to offer these huge sales tax holidays that if we weren't doing so well, we wouldn't be able to offer. And these savings on all of the items that we mentioned benefit Floridians and visitors alike. So these Freedom Month tax savings are tailor-made for the perfect Florida vacation. Grab the sunscreen, grab a pair of sunglasses under $100, grab a beach chair, grab some fishing poles and bait. Even bait is tax-free, which I love. And then you can top it off with a concert under the stars, all tax-free. So just a tremendous opportunity for those of us who live here and for our visitors. 2 million Floridians work in our hospitality industry here in Florida. That is one of every 6 jobs. And so by offering these tax savings, travelers will have more money in their pockets to spend on hotels, restaurants, and then so it just keeps working. 97 cents of every dollar, Governor, I haven't shared this with you yet, but 97 cents of every dollar spent in our tourism industry in Florida stays in the state of Florida, unlike a lot of industries where they're exporting those dollars to their headquarters in Ohio or California or wherever. So we are the #1 destination for vacation because we have something for everybody. If you are an avid golfer and you want to play on our world-class golf courses, we have that. If you're an outdoor enthusiast and you want to explore our 15,000 miles of trails, but now you say 22,000 miles, so I'm going to change my talking points. 22,000 miles of trails. We have that for you. Or if you're a consummate foodie and you want to explore some of our unique Florida cuisine or enjoy one of our 149 Michelin restaurants, we can do that for you. So there is something for you here in Florida. Thank you to the legislature and to the governor for passing this legislation that benefits Floridians and visitors in such a positive way. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tampa Bay History Center. I'm C.J. Roberts, the center's president and CEO. Governor, thank you so much for being here. It is really an honor to have our institution serve as the location for this important announcement. You know, the Tampa Bay History Center serves three roles in our community. We're the community storyteller. We tell stories that span a period of 10,000 years. We're the keepers of the community's treasures, over 80,000 objects in our collections. And we're a community gathering space for classes and workshops and events just like this one. And one of the things we take very seriously is ensuring the History Center is accessible to Floridians as well as those who visit from out of our state. We never want the price of an admission or the price of a membership to serve as a barrier between that individual and access to the stories that we're telling here. And we have a number of tools that we use throughout the year to ensure that accessibility. But today's announcement provides another tool, and it will assist and encourage Floridians to explore the rich cultural, historic, and natural resources that our state has in such abundance. Governor, thank you for recognizing the value of the many treasures that our state has to offer. Thank you for the foresight that you've shown with this program. We at the History Center are looking forward to doing our part to spread the word about this opportunity to promote tourism and visitation to the special places around the state of Florida.
Yeah, look, I think we're really clicking on the tourism. I mean, we've always been strong on it, but it's only gotten stronger in recent years. And you know, Dana mentioned some of the stuff. You know, the golf courses is interesting because we have 4 PGA Tour events: Sawgrass, Palm Beach Gardens, Bay Hill, and Copperhead here in the Tampa Bay area. And all of those courses are actually publicly accessible for, they're not private clubs, so you can go. Now, some places like TPC will charge you a lot for that privilege, but you can access it. And I think that there's really been a golf boom in Florida. We've got a lot of clubs being created, and look, those are going to be great facilities. But some of those clubs are, it's a little bit more exclusive. But we have great facilities that are publicly accessible. And I mean, they did the Stream Song thing not too far from here in Polk County. That's been a tremendous success. That's something that people are able to go and do if they wanted to. They're redoing the World Woods to make it the Cabot property. That's going to be absolutely fantastic. That'll be something that people will be able to go to. Yes, in Florida, but those are tourist attractions, particularly in the winter where you can't play in some of these places. People fly into Tampa Airport, they drive to Stream Song. They're going to fly into Tampa Airport, and they're going to go to Cabot up there in Brooksville. So that's going to be really, really significant. And, we got a lot of great stuff with theme parks. My kids are now like really into water parks, right? And I grew up in this area, so I said, you guys got to go to Adventure Island, right? That's where we would go. And so they're interested in doing that. The slides when I was a kid, like Tampa Typhoon, they don't have those anymore. That was a really big one that you'd go down. But we have great stuff. Some of the things that we have, like Discovery Cove, where you could swim with dolphins, with SeaWorld runs that. That's unbelievable. You got Epic Universe for Universal is going to open next year. That's just going to be, I think, probably the highest bar set in terms of theme parks. So we've got a lot of great stuff going on, and of course, the great state parks, the great beaches, everything else that you'd want to do. So it's a good place to be. We are proud of the industry. We think it's very, that industry was hanging by a thread during COVID. And our decisions were, let's keep them open and let's make sure these people don't go out of business. And that was the right decision to make. And a lot of people were upset at the time, but it was the right decision. And you now see things are going. In fact, we were just down in Southwest Florida, and we had a friend of mine that has a great restaurant on Sanibel. and they got hammered at end of September of 2022. A lot of people thought the island was just going to die. We worked to get the causeway built. We did that in a few weeks. People thought it was going to take 6 months. But he just said at first quarter of 2024 compared to first quarter of 2022, which has been the record, it's like 1% off on the tail end of a Category 5 hurricane. So that bounce back has just been incredible. It just shows that people know Florida's the place they want to be. So I'm excited for that. Finally, I just want to say on off topic, we are working with the Attorney General. We have filed a lawsuit to fight back against what Biden's trying to do with Title IX, to take away protection. The bottom line is this. Injecting men into women's bathrooms and locker rooms is not good for women. Injecting boys into girls' sports is not good for girls. And so this is bad policy, but it's also not constitutional. That is not what the law says. They are twisting the law to try to impose an ideological agenda on the rest of the country. And I've said very clearly in Florida, we do not consent to that, and we will not comply with it, and we will fight back against it. So you can take that to the bank. All right, anybody have any questions? I think that they are walking the line right. You have a right to say what you want. You have a right to express your opinions. You don't have a right to commandeer the lawn on a university campus. You don't have a right to harass other people. You don't have a right to physically impede. You know, Columbia, some of these students are taking people captive now. They're overrunning the school. That is the inmates running the asylum. That doesn't work. And so in Florida, you can say things, you can have positions, that's fine, but when you're not going to let you set up a tent city in the middle of a university, that is not going to happen here. So I think that that's sensible, and I think that's just, and forget about even the issues that are animating this. It's just common decency that you wouldn't do that. And I thought it was great when I think both at University of Florida and at Florida State, you did have a very relatively small group of students, I think, were bringing tents onto the lawn, and they turned the sprinklers on, and that was the end of that. So that's what I think it should be. And that's it. It's these universities, what you're seeing in Columbia and these places, that is toxic. That is an environment that if you're a Jewish student, you are not safe in that environment. They are blocking Jewish students from being able to go to class. They are harassing Jewish professors. They are doing things that are far beyond them just expressing their opinions. And I think that as much as I disagree with their opinions, they have a right to do that, but you don't have a right to commandeer the university. You don't have a right to disrupt, to harass, to intimidate, and do all those other things. And Florida, I think people are looking at Florida's universities and saying, why can't this happen at these other places? And you know why it doesn't happen there? Because there's never any consequences for any of the malcontents. They can do whatever they want, and basically they get a slap on the wrist. Well, of course you're not going to see change in behavior. In Florida, if you are violating appropriate conduct, especially if you're warned, you could be expelled, and they're willing to do that. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. You know, I was talking with Corcoran, who's the New College president, and New College was a very interesting institution, right? I mean, it was almost like a Marxist commune when I became governor. Not exactly what we want your tax dollars going towards. So we said, okay, we got to do better. So Richard went in. It's now a classical liberal arts, similar to like a Hillsdale College in Michigan. He's done things to bring in recruit faculty. They've weeded out some of the other faculty. Some students chose to leave because they came for what it was before, and it's changed. So I get that. Other students are now coming. But you had situations where you had a speaker on campus that was being harassed, and they were doing things that were way beyond speech. And I was like, well, hold them accountable. So they literally had to find the manual for discipline. It had never been used in like 50 years. And I was like, well, that's a good example of why some of this stuff happens on college campuses. So they went and they used that, and the behavior changed immediately. So that's what I think we wanted to have. And we're not only doing that in Florida, we have said for other students around the country, we're going to relax some of our transfer restrictions, because usually you have to be in another college for a certain number of years. We're willing to relax that if it's for students who are fleeing these hostile environments. Not only Jewish students, but I think right now in our country, I think it's mostly Jewish students that have been targeted. I think in the fall, you're going to see us at University of Florida, USF, FSU, some of these places. I think you're going to see students that have transferred in from some of these other places, just because who wants to go through that type of nonsense? I mean, I wouldn't want to do that if I were in their shoes.
Governor, the 6-week abortion ban goes into effect at midnight tonight. I'd like to get your thoughts about that, as well as what do you think about the Mifepristone, the abortion pill? A lot of Republicans in Congress would like to ban that. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm not familiar with what they're saying in Congress. I mean, the court ruled correctly that being able to provide protections for a baby that has a detectable heartbeat is lawful and constitutional. And I think that that's a noble effort, and I think that that's something that will be very meaningful to folks who get a chance to enjoy this great race of life that we have.
Follow up on that. The president was here last week. The vice president's going to be in Jacksonville tomorrow. They've been making the abortion issue, saying that Florida is now back in play as a result. Your thoughts?
So first of all, I mean, if you remember when I became governor, this state had almost 300,000 more registered Democrats than Republicans. Today, we have 900,000 more registered Republicans than Democrats. Just those demographics, I think it's a very uphill climb, but I also think it's an uphill climb because of Biden's failed leadership and failed policies. And it's hard for middle-class people to afford a home because interest rates are over 7%. They were a lot lower when Trump was in office. Now they're through the roof, and their payments double effectively for the average price of a home. He's let in 10 million people illegally come across our southern border. Yes, criminal aliens. Yes, people from terrorist sponsoring regimes. Maduro has released people from prison and sent them to the border. It's been a total disaster. Not only is he letting people come through the border, he's actually flying in people from places like Haiti under an illegal parole program. And unfortunately, you had this young girl in Massachusetts that one of the people Biden flew in from Haiti is now charged with sexually assaulting this 14-year-old girl. How is that in our country's interest for them to do? What about the inflation? They said it would go away. Inflation seems to be accelerating. People haven't gotten any relief from any of this stuff. So look, if that was the record you had, I understand they would try to figure out anything they could to try to change the dynamic, or to try to change the focus from the failed leadership. But they failed on fiscal, they failed on inflation, they failed on interest rates, they failed on the border. And oh, by the way, is this world more peaceful than it was when Trump was president? Not even close. And so Biden's been a failed leader internationally, and I think that becomes more and more apparent every day. But here's what I would say, and some of your employers would appreciate this message. I welcome Biden-Harris to spend a lot of money in Florida. Light up the airwaves. Do it. Light it on fire. We are fine with you doing that here, but I can confidently predict that you'll see Republican victories, not just at the top of the ticket, but up and down the ballot, and I think that's a good thing. Well, I mean, I think we put our thoughts on that. I mean, I think if you read that decision on the ballot initiative, the 3 women justices dissented, and I think they pointed out that you can sit there and read that, and these terms are not defined. For example, people will sometimes say, yeah, I'm pro-life, I believe that, but, let the doctor make the decision. People will say that in conjunction with the expected mother. That amendment does not require a physician. You can have abortion up till the moment of birth without a physician being involved. It says a health care provider. Well, that can be a clerk at Planned Parenthood. That could be an acupuncturist. That could be anybody. Does not have to be a doctor. That is really, really extreme, and I don't think we've seen anything like that. And then I think when you have an amendment that's they want it to go in Florida's Constitution that will eliminate parental consent for minors, why would you take away parental consent? How is that something that people are going to want to do? So I think that these things get worded in ways that are intentionally misleading. The court dropped the ball because they're really supposed to be a guard on that. But the reality is now voters are going to be presented, and I think that once, if they know what this actually means, that it'll be in trouble. I think the whole proponents of it is all to try to hide the ball and to try to use deceptive language to get people to vote for something that they actually don't believe in, and that's the nature of this. That's why they pour millions and millions of dollars into doing this stuff, and there's people that will benefit. And it's true for marijuana as well. There's people that will benefit financially if these things pass, and that's what's driving this, is the ability for people to line their pockets. So I think, my view is vote no on both of those, and we'll be getting involved in different ways, I think, across on those initiatives. But on the marijuana one, you're going to have marijuana everywhere, and it's like, okay, we have medical marijuana in Florida. Not everyone that's getting that medical marijuana card, I mean, they have these back ailments, and I'm not saying none of them are legit, but some of them clearly, they're doing it to get the card. We know that some of this goes on, and yet, why would we want to have more? Do you want to walk down the street here and smell it? Do you want to be able to take your family, not be able to take your family out to dinner because you're worried about it? It reduces the quality of life everywhere this has been tried. That's just a fact. Look what's happened in Denver, Colorado. Look what's happened in Los Angeles, New York City. I've talked to people that have moved from New York, and they're like, they used to have, an apartment somewhere, and it used to be. Now, what does it reek of? It reeks of marijuana. I don't want this state to be reeking of marijuana. We're doing fine. We don't need to do that. See you guys. Thank you.